So welcome back everybody, Mike here. It's another wet one. It rained all night last night, all morning, and it let up a little bit this afternoon, and it's supposed to rain again tonight. They're actually calling for some flooding. And on days like this, when you're home and you're off work, you know, you kind of just feel like holding down the couch, to be honest. And I do that, you know, sometimes. But I also like to try to make the most of a rain day. And what I mean is I try to get everything ready so when the sun is shining, or you know, and the weather's good and you got work to do outside, everything's ready to go. You know, I make sure on days like this I get everything greased and check the oil and sharpen my chainsaws and just anything I can do so when the weather's nice and you say you get home from work or you have a day off, you can just tear right into it and everything's ready to roll. I like doing that kind of stuff, and that way I don't waste any time whenever the weather's nice. I'm going to be cutting a lot of firewood here over the next couple weeks, and everything's ready. I just need a little bit of weather to cooperate. And speaking of firewood, my last video was on log splitters, and I wanted to answer a question. A lot of people ask me why I don't have a 3-point log splitter on my tractor. Well, there's two reasons for that. One, I like to take the log splitter out to the woods and split up the big rounds. The smaller stuff I like to just haul in and split later and keep a good stockpile in the yard, so that way on days like this where it's wet or miserable out, I can just go there and split wood. But when I take the log splitter out in the woods, I just like to run it out there with the Ranger and then take the tractor out and use the 3-point carryall to bring the wood back in. And so I couldn't do that if I had a log splitter on the back of the tractor. You know, I just split right from the splitter, toss it in the carryall and take it back. That's one reason. The other reason I don't, and maybe this is just me, I don't like putting a bunch of hours on my tractor, you know, running a 37.5 horsepower diesel just to split firewood when I can do the same thing with a 6.5 horsepower Briggs engine on a log splitter. So, you know, I probably run a splitter, I don't know, 60, 70 hours a year. And right now my tractor has about 185 hours on it. If I had a log splitter on there, it would probably have around 320 hours on it. And so that's just me. I don't think, in my head, there's no sense in cranking up the hours on a tractor whenever, you know, a little 6.5 horse Briggs will do the same thing. So that's the two reasons I do not have a 3-point log splitter on the back of my tractor. Another question I get quite often is people want to see a video on how I sharpen my chainsaws. And you just saw me doing it there briefly at the beginning of this video, and I will do that here in the future. I'm actually trying to figure out how I actually sharpen it. See, I just do it by hand, and I've gotten pretty good at it, but believe me, it has taken years to get that way. I mean, I remember when I was younger trying to sharpen chainsaw with a file. I mean, you'd get done, you're thinking, oh, this thing's, it's ready to rip, you know. You got there, cut the first log, and the thing's trying to cut circles on you, and it's just horrible. So I finally, after years of practice, have been able to just sharpen them pretty darn good with just a file, sharpening them by hand. And because I used to send them places to get sharpened, and they, you know, they'd send them back, and it'd grind the teeth way back and not take down the rakers, and it was just a whole thing. And so I'm like, I'm just going to do it myself. And so over the years, I finally have gotten pretty good at sharpening my saw just with a file. So I'm going to try to figure out exactly how I do it. It just kind of comes naturally now for me, and it's hard to explain because I don't even really know. I just do it and it works out. But it hasn't always been that way, believe me. It was a struggle for years learning how to sharpen that saw by hand. But I'll get something together here and maybe even try out a few other things that you know, are on the market to make it a little bit easier and see what works. But it's a pain in the neck, and I love running a sharp saw. I can't stand it when it's dull. It's you're not getting anywhere. So anyway, back to making the most of your rain days. What I try to do, get everything taken care of that I can think of. You know, make sure all your fuel cans and all your equipment, your mowers, your tractor, everything's fueled up, greased, ready to go. And that everything's in order so I don't waste any time when the weather's nice. And that's how I like to do things on rain days. I also like to take this opportunity to maybe go for a little hike here and there, check memory cards, you know, pull cards from cameras and things. As a matter of fact, I just got 2 now. So if I got any decent pictures, I will share them at the end of this video. And we're in that mode now, getting ready for gun season. The Monday after Thanksgiving, it starts here, and my daughter Eva will be out. She's 12 years old. It'll be her first year hunting. I already got that buck a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. So I will just be going along for the ride and helping her out. And then I think I mentioned before, I do have 2 doe tags, and I'll probably get a doe in gun season and maybe one in muzzleloader season. It's been probably 15 years since I shot a doe here on the property, but we do have an abundance of them now. And this morning I had some deer sausage for breakfast, like a breakfast sausage. They mix some pork with it. It's very good. So I think another deer before the end of the year will be good to fill the freezer a little bit more. So I'm going to work on that. And something else I wanted to mention, you'll notice in the description I have a link. I now have a Amazon store, I guess you'd call it. It's called an Amazon Influencer Program. And you know, other videos I've mentioned things like the lock and lube. Whenever somebody buys something off of that store, I get a commission, and it's not much, believe me, but it's something. And it's something where I can maybe, I'm kind of working towards getting like some new camera equipment and different things for the channel. So just so you know, I will never promote anything that I don't use and that I don't like, because there's so much junk out there. But if I love when things work well, work the way I want them to, and you know, things that exceed your expectations when you buy them, because a lot of times you buy stuff and you end up disappointed. So people always ask questions about certain things in the videos. If it's something that I like and that I have used for a while and it's worked very well for me, I will put that in that Amazon store. You know, things like the VP racing jugs, the lock and lube, those wild game trail cameras, really just, I've mentioned a lot of different things, but it takes years to figure out what is a good product and what's junk. And I like good stuff. I don't like throwaway stuff. You know what I mean? I like to buy something and it does what you're hoping it will do. And so those are the types of things, the only types of things I'll promote in that Amazon store. So if you want to check it out, and it'd be pretty cool to just show your wife and be like, hey, you can do my Christmas shopping right here. You know, if you're into firewooding and tractors and hunting and things like that, there'll be a lot of items in that Amazon store, and it just goes right through Amazon like you'd buy anything else from them. And what else did I want to mention? I think that's it. So coming up in the next couple weeks, you're going to see a bunch of firewood videos if the weather would ever straighten out. And if you enjoy these videos, please click subscribe, and when you do, hit that little bell icon beside it so you'll get notifications of when I upload. And comment below. I love the interaction. I haven't been able to keep up like I used to, but I read probably every comment, and if I don't answer it there, I try to answer it in the next video. So that's it. Take care. I hope everybody has a great week, and take care.